Process and transfer addictions are often called the whack-a-mole of addiction because they pop up as soon as you put down your drug of choice, which I'm going to call DOC for the rest of this video. DOC is determined by the effects of the drug itself, the availability of the drug, the peer group of the individual, legality, and ease of access. It can also be influenced by the age of first use of substances. A person's mental health may also influence the decision of drug of choice. They may choose a DOC due to an augmenting or minimizing impact on mental health symptoms. Then the addictive cycle begins. The use then changes the brain, and continued use hardwires those changes into rituals, routines, and habits. If you stop using your DOC, your brain still wants the relief or the sensation that the DOC created. It will seek and tell you whatever it takes to continue use, to continue the effect of the drug. It will tell you that you didn't have a problem with alcohol, or you can take Ambien to go to sleep, or you liked stimulants and didn't have a problem with alcohol. Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Welcome back to my channel. I create content, support, and resources for professionals and other high achievers who want to strategically address their substance use issue with effective tools, leveraging the science of positive habits. When you cease using your DOC, your brain, which hosts your emotions and feelings, continues to seek the benefit that your DOC gave. Stress management, energy, numbing out, the perception of celebration or connection. This happens when your recovery and sobriety habits are not yet developed and they aren't established, and your brain naturally seeks an alternative. This can be through an alternative mind-altering substance and or process or behavioral addiction. However, in substance use disorder, your brain is primed to use mind-altering drugs and mind-altering behaviors and to process them with an exaggerated and augmenting biophysical process. If you use a non-choice drug or behavior, your brain will process that, lighting up the same neural pathways that were in play with your addiction to your DOC. In addition, the propensity to seek mind-altering drug or behavior strongly suggests that you were not managing your life in holistic, healthy ways. Often that means that you did not have a stress management plan in place and operational. As you look for a chemical control of life, you displace, miss, or do not develop organic and holistic habits of recovery, the habits that satiate and reduce and eliminate craving. In early sobriety, particularly if you have a preferred substance and are not interacting with it, your brain can frame this as an illusion of control. As your brain seeks routine, ritual, and relief, this illusion of control becomes a relapse justification. For example, you might tell yourself and others that using a particular substance that wasn't your thing, or using a class of drug that wasn't your thing. For example, I like downers, not stimulants. Let's review some relapse and slippery slope justifications. They include denying what you know to be true about the disease of addiction, denying what professionals, experts, or authorities in the field say about substance use disorder and treatment, viewing information regarding substance abuse and treatment as not pertaining to you. Once again, thinking that this time you would have control over your drinking drug use. Not developing a recovery identity, which includes being unwilling to be honest with yourself and others about your feelings and about recovery. And how you fit in. For example, your brain tells you that you don't belong in recovery with those people. Not appropriately managing your stress, not appropriately managing your feelings, misuse of the medical system, Misuse of PRNs. PRN is medical terminology that means as needed. Next, I'm going to list some behaviors that are common transfer process addictions. Engaging in romantic love or sex in early recovery, where it the chemical impact of that mimics use and allows recovery habits to drop. Overgaming, religiosity, extreme working out, spending, gambling, risk taking, and high adventure, miss or overuse of porn. So let's consider some early recovery behaviors that increase the risk of transfer and process addiction, the whack-a-mole. Lack of a positive habit-based program recovery, meaning habits that change your neurobiology. Having a negative and or hostile worldview. Having an immature wish just to be happy. Wanting to be normal. Feeling stuck and not asking for help. Not talking about triggers you might have experienced. Resisting feedback by either not sharing or giving excuses or justifications. If confronted, you may get mad or defensive. Looking for the person to give you the answer you want, searching the internet for answers that support the answer you want. Disregarding information that is contrary to the answer you want. Post-acute withdrawal, which will be covered in another video. Achievement, productivity, and busyness, even in terms of recovery habits and activity. Dropping of recovery habits. Sex and high-risk sexual behavior, and casual behavior with prescriptions, taking other people's prescribed medicine, thinking it's not a big deal. So next is a list of slippery slope substance behaviors. The overuse of energy drinks, kombucha, pre-workout drinks. CBD and THC products are problematic because it's an unregulated industry and you can't control the product itself. Non-alcoholic beer and wine. I have a video on this, which I will link below. Not disclosing to medical providers your substance use disorder status when seeking help for sleep, pain, discomfort, and mental health. Using or exploiting other medical issues to get a medical intervention or prescription. The use of over-the-counter medication that contains alcohol, such as NyQuil or equivalents. Another thing to be aware of in developing a plan to manage the risk of transfer or process addiction is cross-tolerance. Tolerance is when your body becomes accustomed to your DOC and you need to take more often, or more potent drugs. Cross-tolerance is when a tolerance to a different class of drugs exists. Cross-tolerance is when a person's brain and body already have an elevated tolerance in a drug class different from their DOC's drug class. In effect, the tolerance transfers. Cross-tolerance creates a risk for relapse to the DOC because it can and often does catalyze a craving for the person's DOC. This carries the risk of the individual having to do more of the drug or behavior than expected, and that can be dangerous in addition to a barrier to holistic recovery. Cross-tolerance continues the craving and the defense mechanisms and the relapse justifications. A cross-addicted drug or behavior can create or accelerate a relapse. So what do you do to minimize the risks of process or transfer addiction? Seek professional help with a specialized and licensed provider. Remember to manage any co-occurring mental health disorders. I recently created some content on this, which I will link above and below. Build a solid recovery plan using proven and multi-dimensional tools. I have a video on this as well, which I will share below. In addition, I've created a PDF that summarizes these strategies, and I'll leave the link for that free resource in my description box. For more information, content, support, and tools on how to manage executive stress and enjoy life without drugs, alcohol, or over relying on unhealthy coping, subscribe and check out my description uh, or link tree for a free workbook on managing stress to help stop drinking.